So, last year, my uncle died, and left a decent-sized amount of money for my sister and me. We're both working, and I'm doing okay, but I wouldn't consider myself rich. My sister's in the same boat. The money I got really helped me, and since there was enough surplus of it left, I invested it, and got a decent amount of return already. My sister, on the other hand, is a super activist, and donated a crap ton of it to political campaigns and random non-profits. Now that money is caught up with her, and she wants more money. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't give her a lot of money? I'm okay to give her a few $100, but she's expecting a lot more, and is saying that because she donated it, she doesn't waste it, and that the money I made from stocks is just extra money that I don't deserve. She's playing the moral high ground like it was our duty to give money to XYZ charity because we didn't need it, and she did my part for me. Edit. I should clarify we're both good with money and make decent livings. We didn't need this inheritance to get by or anything. She gave away more money than she was comfortable with because she knew I wasn't giving any away. So she did it to cover for me too. I guess her logic was do it and then ask for forgiveness and reimbursement. She also says making money from stocks is stealing from people, and that since she donated money, she is morally more clear to have that money than I am. Edit 2. She says investment in the stock market encourages capitalism and big corporations screwing over poorer people. That's why it's stolen. Also, to clarify, I do like the aims of some of the charities she donated to, but I don't feel like I was obligated to give. It's really just her political donations I highly disliked. I just feel like she's trying to virtue signal to me, but maybe she's right. I also do believe that she actually gave what she said she did. She's not a liar, and it does fall within her moral compass. Not the a-hole. You each inherited a certain amount, and now hers is gone. If you give her any more, she'll constantly come back for more. You owe her nothing. Not the a-hole. She has this backwards. She wasted her money, and you did something smart with yours. Not that a donation is a waste, but when you clearly can't afford to donate X amount of money, you're wasting money that could have been used to improve your own life. She basically decided to choose where to give both of your guys money if you give her any. Don't encourage this crap. She wants the moral high ground and money. Too bad, so sad for her. She doesn't get both. She won't be happy until she has more than you, likely. I wouldn't give her a cent. Not the a-hole. She's basically pinning her mistake, albeit a generous one, on you, and making you feel bad that she's in this position. It's your inheritance. Do what you like with it, but don't give her more, just because she's family. Female 27. Had an argument with my sister-in-law, female 34. Before she met my brother, male 36, she already had a kid, female 15. She was 9 when we met. Not gonna lie, it was rough to see her grow up in such a toxic environment. My sister-in-law is a gorgeous woman, smart, hardworking, and independent. If it wasn't for her personality, I'd admire her so much. But she's a terrible, horrible person, and worse as a mother. I love my brother, but he is an idiot for marrying a woman like my sister-in-law. She cut her daughter's hair with scissors to the point she had a bad pixie cut, just because she didn't want to hug her. She called her daughter filthy when she had lice. She wants to be the center of attention every time, and be careful if you are kinda having the spotlight, because she'll make backhanded comments like, "Really? Wow, I'm surprised. Congrats. I'm astonished you made it since you know you're not that smart. I mean, it's a lovely dress. Good thing you have a pretty face." I've talked to my brother multiple times about her behavior, but he's so used to being mistreated that he doesn't do anything about it. I try to behave myself in front of her. I love my niece, and know if I make a wrong move, then either my niece or my brother will suffer. Well, yesterday they visited us to celebrate my niece's birthday at my parents' house. I cooked her favorite meal and decorated with pink and red balloons, her favorite colors, and had some confetti on the floor. When my niece came in, she loved it, but then my sister-in-law commented, "Oh, how cute. Red and pink are such an interesting choice. I know who not to call for color selection." Then when we were eating, my niece told us how well she was doing at school. And again, my sister-in-law. Yeah, incredibly smart. That comes from my side of the family. Poor her if she got that from her dad. Though she isn't, pretty good at making friends. Well, it was time to cut her cake when my sister-in-law stopped us and told us she had an announcement to make. My brother was next to her and they told us they planned to have a baby. I was shocked, and that's less to say about my niece. She was crying and not happy tears. I just couldn't contain myself. Just because you can have kids doesn't mean you should have them. Sister-in-law, I beg your pardon. Me, I just think a kid deserves a parent who loves them and not to be treated like a dog. My sister-in-law was furious, but she is a professional narcissist, so instead of responding, she just started crying and saying crap. She won't love my baby because she envies us too much. She hates babies, etc. Then they left. And that wasn't enough. She then uploaded an IG story about how sad she was. I hated her so much and wished her the worst. Also that I hate babies and stuff like that. Of course, people sent me DMs to harass me. I don't think I did anything wrong, but even my friends are calling me an a-hole for going too far. Not the a-hole. Maybe timing wasn't the best, but I get the impression you were tired of her verbal aggression. I hope you find a way to keep communication because of your niece. She needs an adult that cares about her. As for your friends, they might be on the don't rock the boat mindset, and that's why they are calling you out. I would reply, how come her constantly insulting and berating me and my family is okay? Not the a-hole. I mean, out of context, you could have been pretty crappy. But announcing your pregnancy at the birthday party of your child seems so insensitive that you'd get a hard pass. I don't need any other context. Way to make your daughter feel unimportant. Not the a-hole. Even though it's not really your place to say what they should do in their marriage, your words seem well-founded. Your sister-in-law needs a real bashing from someone who doesn't care, so she'll cool it a little bit. Though it's very unlikely. Sister-in-law really seems like the mom to compete with her daughter to be queen, just an uncaring parent. The planned pregnancy is probably just for attention. I, 52 male, have 4 children. 3 of them have moved out, and 1, male 26, still is at home. He pays rent and has his responsibilities. 11 months ago, he got a new office job working for a small company. He's had small jobs, but nothing long-term, so this is probably a reality check for him, as it is his first real job and chance at creating a long life career. For about 4 months now, he's been complaining to us about the long hours, especially when he's asked to work extra when he doesn't get paid for it, and is doing things that wasn't in his job description. So he's being underpaid for it, and I think he's also being pushed around and manipulated by an older coworker, Tom, who is using his lack of experience to his advantage. He doesn't want to say no because he knows they're short-staffed and doesn't want to seem like a slacker. We have told him that he can say no if he doesn't want to, and that if he has any issues, he should talk to his superiors about it. He can be very sheepish and doesn't like confrontation as he sees it. But I've also told him that it's not being confrontational when he's coming home exhausted and is not happy. So for the last 2 months, he has been telling us that he has been writing an email about being underpaid and wanting to stick to the job role he applied for, but hasn't actually done anything, and is saying that he might quit because the long hours aren't worth it. I know he is young and doesn't have a lot of working experience, so I can see why he is hesitant to speak up about this. Here's where I might be the a-hole. Before Christmas, I told him that if he didn't speak up and just complain to his mom and me, that I would go in and speak to the owner myself and tell him that the other workers are using their power and should not be making my son do things outside of his role, especially when he isn't paid for it, and they're saving money instead of hiring someone appropriate and qualified in that role. He asked me not to, and I told him to grow a backbone. I went in on Friday last week. The owner wasn't in, but I spoke to someone else and relayed everything that has been going on and said it wasn't fair and that it needs to change. He had a phone call with his superior about it, and they had a meeting about it and discussed it. But now my son is angry at me because he felt he was handling it when actually he was doing nothing, and that Tom was now being subtle but openly mocking him as he kept asking another coworker if he felt he was being aggressive to her or forcing her to do things in a jokey manner. Now he says he just wants to quit and isn't speaking to me. My wife agreed with me, saying that we did warn him, and if he cared that much, he should have spoken up about it before I had to go in and intervene. I just wanted my son to realize the toxic work environment he was in wasn't healthy, and he has every right to say this is wrong and try to make it right instead of letting people walk all over him. Am I the a-hole? Oh my God, I just died of embarrassment for your son. He's 26, and you went in and told his boss they were mistreating him. I mean, you raised an adult son who can't advocate for himself, and that's on you, but it's too late for you to fix it now. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. If your son cannot advocate for himself at the age of 26, you did a poor job of preparing him for life. You humiliated him by going into his work. You're the a-hole, but I understand your impulse. I'm a mama bear myself, and one of the hardest lessons I had to learn was to sit on my hands and let my kids handle their own battles. But that has to be the way it is. Keep encouraging your kid to stand up for himself, but stay out of his office. Maybe with your son's agreement, you can send some goodies and apology, but otherwise, steer clear. I, 27 female, am married to my husband, 29. My husband and I live in a 4-bed, 3-bath. We have 2 children ages 4 and 1. My husband has a sister, Emma, 33. Emma has a 14-year-old daughter, Mina. Emma and Nina stayed with us for a month while they were visiting. They used the spare bathroom upstairs that no one else uses. When they left, we had some septic problems with extreme clogging. We called sister-in-law and she brushed it off and said my 4-year-old must have flushed something down it. My 4-year-old has never done that and is never unsupervised upstairs. We called a plumber and they came out and told us it was clogged with tampons and wet wipes. I called my sister-in-law and told her, and she said it must have been Nina. She must have not known it wasn't like home. I told her she should have informed her daughter beforehand. She made up this whole excuse about how they did, but they were able to at home, so thought my toilet could handle it, and it was a complete accident. I spoke to my husband about it, and he didn't think we should make her pay for it. It seemed to be an accident. I, though, disagreed, and still did it. She clogged our toilet and tried to make it seem like my son did it. I sent her the bill with a little message just stating the bill is due, blank, and I expect her to pay for it since it was their doing. When Emma received the bill, she called me angrily saying how she couldn't believe I was making her pay, and it was an honest accident, then hung up. She sent my husband an angry text about how I'm changing him, and she no longer will be coming back in the summer. This has caused tension in my home and relationship. I don't think I'm the a-hole. She could definitely afford it. I understand Nina is a child, and it's not her fault, but Emma should have educated Nina. When you break something in someone else's house, you fix it. I feel bad though because my husband only does see Emma a few times out of the year. Not the a-hole. Not flushing tampons and wet wipes is basic knowledge, as they don't dissolve. Your sister should have taught Nina that. Not the a-hole. Tampons and wet wipes shouldn't be flushed down the toilet. End of. Though I do wonder whether Emma is being truthful blaming Nina, or whether she did it herself. After all, she already tried blaming your 4-year-old for the problem before the plumber discovered the true cause of the blockage. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law's plumbing hasn't failed yet. It will eventually build up somewhere and cause an issue. Even if it doesn't cause an issue for her, the wastewater treatment workers are cursing her out. 7 years ago when I got married, mother-in-law and I got into a huge fight over her bringing a date to the wedding. I wanted to keep things small and personal, and she wanted to bring a date. This fight really escalated into craziness and tore the family apart. She didn't speak to her own mother for 5 months, got in a screaming match with her son, and she ended up not coming to the wedding. Mother-in-law told me very clearly to never speak to her again, so I respected that. We still see her sometimes if we are at the same event, but we have literally never spoken to her again. She doesn't speak to us. My oldest child is aware that she is her grandmother, but my younger one doesn't even know who she is. She has a husband I've never spoken a word to. I don't really care if she doesn't. Recently, we had a family function and my younger child had a medical emergency. It was the scariest moment of my life, but mother-in-law was able to do compressions on her. She is an ER doctor and I'm so beyond thankful she was there. I did say thank you in the moment, but I wasn't sure if she heard me. I went over to her after and said that despite everything between us, I just wanted to say thank you. Mother-in-law was standing with her brother who said, "Didn't she tell you to never speak to her again?" Mother-in-law got an attitude and said that she would have done that for anyone because it is literally her job and she doesn't need to be thanked and felt it was performative. Mother-in-law's husband, who I've never talked to in my life, snapped at me and said you don't need to thank someone for doing their job and that I have a lot of nerve talking to her. I was shocked that they were being so rude about it. Mother-in-law's dad tried to brush it off and said she had social anxiety. I won't say she doesn't, but this is the first time I'm seeing it or hearing about it. And that they were just acting like that because she was stressed having to talk to me. But I'm not sure if I really believe that. He also said that I was weird because it implied that she might have just let her die because of our issues. Not the a-hole. Thank you for saving my kid's life is a perfectly reasonable thing to say to her. She sounds stressful. Not the a-hole. Saying thank you is a normal reaction after what happened. Your mother-in-law is still salty about the whole wedding date situation and has perpetuated her saltiness onto others. Not the a-hole. I think you would have thanked anyone who did the same thing in the same circumstances. I thank people for doing their job all the time. Just today I thanked the bagger at the grocery store, and that was just for bagging groceries, not saving someone's life. Sheesh. Your mother-in-law and her posse were out of line. Maybe they thought you were extending an olive branch because you came over afterwards and they want to continue to stew in the resentment. Put it out of your mind. You did nothing wrong.